Hello everyone, welcome to Monday, February 15th, 2021. Hopefully your pipes aren't frozen, your car will start, and you're staying warm. Wow, this has been just an amazing Arctic outbreak for a lot of the western and central areas of the United States. For those of you west of the Continental Divide, you saw a little taste of the Arctic air, but boy, east of the divide, you really took it on the chin. Now this historic Arctic outbreak is going to ease slowly. Keyword there is slowly. We're not going to get one of those big Chinook winds that sometimes happens. A lot of times we'll have an Arctic outbreak in the western high plains and Rockies, and then the next day you're in the 40s and 50s as you get those Chinooks. Yes, it's going to get warmer, but it's not going to be until Friday or the weekend before it'll really warm up enough to really notice. Pacific moisture is going to be increasing, and this is going to bring more mountain snow through the week. Some of the mountains of the Pacific Northwest and the Central and Northern Rockies over the weekend saw some big snows. It's going to be an active pattern for the next 2 weeks. This will be especially true for the mountains. Avalanche dangers in Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, and Montana are really high, and they're going to get higher. Snowpack is going to increase, so if you're a backcountry skier, I know more folks are doing backcountry skiing this winter because it's harder to get in line at the ski areas, make your reservation. And so there's more folks out in the backcountry. Got to be really careful in the coming weeks. This is a good example to show you the breadth and the extent of this Arctic outbreak. Anywhere you see pink is a winter storm warning. Purple is some type of ice or winter weather advisory warning. Wind chill warnings here in the central part of the United States. Even parts of California, if you were to draw an outline of the United States under some type of winter weather advisory or warning, almost the entire lower 48 is under some type of advisory or warning for winter weather conditions. We've been hearing about the big outbreak of ice and snow and bitter cold into Texas and Louisiana. It's down into the teens and snowing around Houston. 2 million people, as of the time this video was being recorded, were without power in Texas. In fact, heard from somebody in Texas that virtual school was canceled in the San Antonio area. So the cold is so bad in Texas, virtual school's canceled because, well, teachers have power outages. So this is really just an historic wave. And if you were to look at temperatures this morning relative to average, you can see this big, huge purple area. The purple represents 30 to 40 degrees below average temperatures, and you can see just the extent of that and the cold core of it down in areas of the United States where they're just not used to it. Now, I told you last week we've seen this before, and we have seen this before in a La Nina. And I want to show you how using analog forecasting techniques really can be quite useful. In the spring and winter of 2011, we were in a La Nina. A La Nina very similar to the La Nina we have now. What will happen in La Ninas is you have high variability in the patterns. Usually you have mild winters, and that's exactly what we've had. But in La Ninas, you can have these strong north-south cross-latitude Arctic outbreaks. And this is a map that shows you an early February Arctic outbreak in 2011 in February. Almost identical to what you're seeing here. It's just remarkable. A very similar setup. Patterns repeat themselves, and La Ninas and El Ninos are a really good idea of what patterns may or may not evolve during the course of a season. These are current temperatures as of 5 a.m. Mountain Time this morning, and you can see the gray. Those gray temperatures are sub-zero. So you can see how far deep south the sub-zero temperatures are. These blue areas right here represent 20 to 35 degrees below zero or colder. We have many areas in Nebraska, South Dakota, 34, 35 degrees below zero, with wind chills in excess of 50 degrees below zero. And this is the Windchill Map. And you can see it's a dagger of polar air going into the nation's midsection. These purples here are wind chills in excess of minus 50. So minus 50 wind chills cover a giant area of Canada and into the northern plains and the northern central plains. And that's where it is. That's exactly what happened in 2011. So this has happened before. I think that's something else to point out. These things have happened before. You may hear that this is the worst ever, and it is going to be the worst ever, especially for this part of Texas and Louisiana, that they've seen in a long time. Look at the La Nina sea surface temperatures in 2011, very similar to what we're experiencing now. So La Ninas will bring these Arctic outbreaks like this. Now, let's take a look at what goes as we go forward now. As we go forward, we're going to be in a northwest wind flow aloft. This is today's jet stream map showing you where the pattern is. We have that bowl right here of where the Arctic air is sitting right now. But we have a small low coming into the Pacific Northwest that will bring more snow to Washington and Oregon. In fact, it's not everything's getting overshadowed by what's happening in the deep south, but they had a lot of snow in Boise and the Pacific Northwest over the weekend. And there's another storm system coming their way. We have another low up here. The jet stream over the next several days will come from the northwest. So we're not going to get a westerly mild flow out of the deserts. So it's going to stay cold. Yes, the Arctic air is going to get pushed off to the east, but it's going to be a slow process. This is for Tuesday night and Wednesday. We continue to have a broad trough across the United States. We have still a tremendous amount of cold air still up in the higher latitudes. By Saturday morning, we have another low coming on in. So we have got at least 3 lows that'll come through the Rockies over the next 5 to 7 days. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to do what they've done all winter, move quickly. So you're going to get the best snow in the high country. And this is the snow forecast through Thursday. Notice you're going to get a little bit of snow east of the Continental Divide, but not a lot. But along and west of the divide and into the mountains, that northwest flow coming in is going to really bring quite a bit of snow to the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, the Pacific Northwest, and Montana. That's going to be great for the snowpack. And speaking of the snowpack, these are the best numbers we've had all season. As of this morning, the upper North Platte at 92% of normal. Now, just 2 weeks ago, that was at 76% of normal. The upper parts of the Snake River Basin, Yellowstone Plateau, look at that. We've got a lot more green now. The upper green, the tongue, powder, now into that green zone. We still, as you're nearing east of the divide, still not looking at good snowpacks as you get away from those better drainages. And I think that'll be a trend we'll see for the rest of the winter season. Again, I'm going to bring up 2011 again. In 2011, we saw a big late season increase in the snowpack during that La Nina. And I think we're seeing something similar now evolving as we get into February and early March. A big uptick in snow in the mountains to help us catch up to the lack of snow in the mountains that we saw during the first half of winter. Colorado's seeing some improvements as well. The upper headwaters of the North Platte at 91. These southern drainages getting a boost as well. So we're a little more optimistic on snowpack now for the rest of February into early March. Have yourself a good day. Stay warm. We promise it will be slightly warmer tomorrow, but only slightly.